Welcome back to the vendor table.
Hi.
Happy 50th episode, Lauren.
50.
50.
Our little podcast baby is 50 episodes old.
Remember we thought it was going to be like 5 episodes?
Yeah, that was when we were just thought it was going to be like a little experiment.
It's like, holy shit, what happened?
I don't know.
What'd you guys do?
I don't know. Universally hated and beloved at the same time.
Yeah. I think we're more loved than hated.
Yeah, Carl.
Yeah, fuck you, Carl.
You suck ass, Carl.
Yeah, Carl, you suck ass. Carl will never listen to this podcast.
No. Carl, you know what? This episode is for Carl because he would hate it.
He would hate it.
And this one's for him.
This one's for him. Got a little fuzz in your hair.
Do I?
Yeah,
Oh, man.
just a little bit.
Get it.
Hold on.
Leave this in.
I got it. I
Can't have fuzz in our 50th episode.
We can leave that in. All right, so it's our 50th episode, which is fucking insane to us.
That's so crazy.
Thank you guys for all the love and support this past year. We're recording this in March. It will come out in April, but March was actually our anniversary too, like our 1 year anniversary, which is insane that we made it a year without killing each other.
Anniversary.
Yeah, we made it a year without killing each other. It's just
Go us.
yeah. Look at us.
Look at us go.
No, but we truly do thank you guys for the love and support, and like watching this thing grow has been one of the coolest experiences that I've ever experienced as a wedding professional.
Yeah, this is really fun. We like it. You guys seem to like it, except for Carl. And I'm excited to see where it takes us. So
Yeah, so cheers to the next 50. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a great ride, and we're excited to, show you what we have in store. We have a lot of fun things that we have planned. Hopefully we can execute them. But we want you guys to, be a part of it. And, we really appreciate that. So what we're doing today is integrating you guys into our 50th episode. We have listener questions. We're keeping them anonymous because some of these are spicy, some of them are not. But these were questions from our Facebook group, questions from our Instagram stories, questions from our TikTok, and we had a lot of them. So we
had over 100.
We had,
well over 100.
Well over 100. So we are going to go through some that we find to be some good questions, some spicy ones.
Some we haven't answered yet because a lot of these we've already answered in past episodes. So if you don't hear your question, check out some of our past episodes and see if maybe those have the answers you're looking for, because most of these are things we haven't really talked about yet.
Yeah. First, before we get into that, though, do you have a favorite moment from our year together as podcast hosts? What's your favorite moment? Clip, story, anything?
Well, I think moment-wise, that was just a cool experience was doing the Love Union.
Yes.
For us.
That was really cool.
That was an awesome experience. We met so many people in person who wanted to take pictures with us.
Yeah, weird. Shout out to Laura. Privilege is mine for inviting us. She's awesome. She's an incredible planner. And she invited us to speak at the event, and we were just so beyond honored. And we had an audience watching.
There were people that sat down to actually listen to us. It was so wild because Mike has done this before. He's done public speaking. I have not. So I broke out in hives a little bit and I was really sweaty, but I think we did okay.
So that was your favorite moment? It
was one of them, definitely.
That's up there for me. That is definitely up there for me.
The other one I think is, if we're talking clips, probably the one where I just looked like a disheveled mess and was talking about how I was handling the busy season, just because of the response it got that I don't think we really anticipated.
You did. I didn't think that clip would do shit. And you're like, no, I think it's going to do good. And I was like, okay. And I was proven so wrong. People loved Lauren's disheveled mess. She's like, I'm not handling this season well. Well, I think all of us deep down inside, we're Lauren in that moment.
I think a lot of people really like to pretend that they're doing really great and they're hustling the shit and they're doing fantastic and nothing's bothering them. But, that's not me during busy season. What about you?
Yeah, the Love Union was up there. One of my favorite moments. I loved going on Adriana's podcast, The Prenup. Like we had,
so great.
We had a lot of fun. We have to share that like on our own, like to our own, because we had a lot of fun recording with her. That's why we had her on. We had a fun episode with that with her. I'd say my favorite clip though, it's a classic. It's the styled shoots are not real weddings. Stop showing them as real weddings.
That one's still circulating.
It's still pinned at the top of our page. We still get comments on it almost every day. Some of the biggest names in the industry have commented and shared that story. I mean, listen, fucking Aunt Sue, man. And listen, and I said Aunt Sue, by the way, okay, my wife's Aunt Sue is a lovely woman. Like, I love my Aunt Sue, okay? Absolutely love my Aunt Sue. But there are Aunt Sues out there, you know who you are, that put their bag on the fucking chair when I'm taking room photos. Mm-hmm. The fuck out of the way.
Aunt Sue.
It's my favorite clip. That's my favorite clip. So.
I think a close second to that one would definitely be the feed your vendors first.
Yeah, that
we can't really talk about that one much more without a very polarizing discussion.
Whatever.
From everyone, but
yeah.
But feed your vendors first.
We could go on a rant about all of these, but let's get into these.
Let's get to some new stuff.
Yeah. Why don't you read the first question?
All right. The first one we got wasn't really a question, but our take on community over competition.
Community over competition.
Yeah, it just sounds like, I think...
A rising tide lifts all ships.
Anytime I think about the phrase community over competition, it sounds like community over competition.
It's like you want to say it with such delight.
Yes.
It's like, oh my God, it's community over competition.
Yes, babe, yes.
And it's like, yeah.
Yes, we support community over competition. It is exactly how Mike and I met.
Fuck yeah.
We love our community of photographers and vendors, and we support each other in every way that we can. If somebody is on hard times, we do whatever we can to support them. If somebody's in desperate need of a second shooter because theirs got sick, it's always, hello, I'm here. Or if one of us is booked, we'll send a referral list to all of our friends. This is a community, and like, why not support each other?
Hell yeah. There's no competition, especially in the wedding industry. Especially, I mean, we're speaking as photographers. The photographic community, especially here in our area, supports one another. All right. I have referred so many photographers out. Like when I'm booked, anything like that, mm-hmm. I've taken on a lot of photographers as second shooters and watched them grow. And I want to see them succeed to the point where I'm going to refer them out. And, you know, I'm doing that right now with Meredith. She's been my second shooter for almost 3 years. And like, I'm watching her blossom before my eyes. And like, it's an amazing, it's amazing to see her grow.
Butterfly.
Oh God, it's so great. And she's
actually
coming out of her
speaking of Meredith and this situation. So Meredith and I were actually, we had consults with the same couple, mm-hmm. right? So they ended up booking with me, and I felt like this pit of guilt in my mm-hmm. stomach, and I like sent her a text and I was like, I'm sorry. And like, that's where we're at, you know, like, I'm sorry that I booked a couple. Yeah. You know, like, that's how I feel. I'm not actively trying to steal clients or like poach clients from my competitors.
No, I think also, you know, we're in a very saturated market, and being in a saturated market, there's plenty to go around. Now, if you're in an area where maybe it's a little tighter competition wise and everything like that, where you're dealing with more competition over community base, it doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah.
You can get to know one another. You can be a community with one another. And, you know, I think that will make you better in the long run, because like, while it might be a tighter competition wise, it shouldn't be competition. At the end of the day, it should be you guys taking care of one another and being there to support one another. We talk about this a few times on the show, but being a solo entrepreneur is a pretty lonely experience, all right? There's no water cooler talk. You don't have coworkers, so getting to know other vendors who are like-minded with you are sometimes the only people you could talk to in that experience. Like we don't sometimes want to burden our spouses with like our problems in the industry or anything like that. So sometimes you need to talk to people like about certain things and that they can relate to you. So having a good community or being a good community member sometimes is really good. So while we joke, community over competition, I'm like,
it really is like a philosophy that we support for sure.
Fuck yeah, that's good.
Now that's not to say that we don't know some scummy photographers or vendors that have like tried to bulldoze people. And like there's going to be that in every single industry ever.
Of course there is.
Those aren't our people.
They're garbage people.
Yeah. And like usually they get found out.
Yeah. I know a few vendors in this area that are strictly like they see you as competition. They don't do well. Yeah. They don't do well. Or they're booking clients that I wouldn't want, because they're not getting those referrals. They're not getting that good business, and mainly because they're a garbage person. So, all right. So then, goodbye. Next one. All right. Oh, this is news. Okay. So, how are we dealing with the wedding gap? What's our predictions for the future?
Can you define the wedding gap?
So, this is what the period we're in now is the wedding gap. Okay. The wedding gap was basically. So during COVID and shortly after COVID, there was a surge in wedding business, okay? A lot of people were getting married, engaged, it was the time, okay? We just got out of a lockdown. People were tying the knot. People had to move their dates, okay, from one year to another. So we were overwhelmed with business, right? And it continued from 2020, 2021, 2022, and then started to kind of fade a little bit in 23, okay? We started to see people were hesitant on booking vendors quickly. They were waiting a little bit. The economy also, like we're in the States, but we know this is worldwide. Inflation started rising, okay? Prices started coming up. So less people were booking weddings, 2 years out, 1.5 years out, things like that. Also, I hate to say it, a lot of couples were falling apart. They were together through the pandemic. Maybe they just didn't survive the pandemic in terms of, their relationship fell apart. So you started to see a little bit of a fall off. Now, as a vendor, okay, 2023 booking for 2024, I book a year and a half out usually. It was a little slower in booking. I usually fill my calendar by June for the following year. I take 35 weddings a year. I didn't fill my calendar until November. So it took a solid 5 extra months before I hit my goal, my quota. So I noticed it. I was like, wow, this is like really slow. I also noticed a lot of people were having smaller weddings. I have like 7 elopements this year. It's more than I've ever had in my life, which is great. I love elopements. I do. But, those are taking the place of bigger weddings. My big weddings are my bread and butter. If I take elopements, usually I have to take them like on a weekday to like supplement costs and everything like that. So they're a little harder to do, like to sustain income and everything like that. I have to take on more, like 2 or 3 kind of like are one full wedding for me at the end of the day. So I've seen it. It's real. It's here. And for booking now, we're in 2024. I'm booking for 2025. It is a little slower. I have 14 weddings booked for 2025. Usually at this point, I'd say 2 years ago, I had like 20 to 22. So I'm like, okay, it's like a little slower. I'm still booking. I'm still getting the leads consistently. I had to raise my prices. I'm still in high demand, but I have noticed like the ghosting is a little higher this year. So we are seeing that a little bit more, but yeah, it's a gap year. It is. And, the predictions are the industry does have peaks and valleys. It does. And I feel like we are in the valley right now. And, it's going to take a little while to climb out of it. We might see, a little bit more of a stabilization in terms of pricing, where, I don't think vendors can raise their prices anymore for a couple of years, just so things stabilize out a little bit.
Yeah.
I know personally, I'm not going to raise my prices next year.
I'm not either.
I'm going to kind of keep things constant because I'm at a point now where I think the production or my value of work is where it is. And if I raise them any higher, I feel like I'm not going to get that business.
Right.
So that's where I see, that's what I'm seeing with the wedding gap. And that's what how I'm dealing with it is I'm just going to kind of try to stabilize my pricing. And the a la carte items though, like the albums and things like that, if those keep going up, I'm going to have to raise my prices on the a la carte items. But my service will likely stay the same. So what about you?
Yeah, I'm noticing the same. The main thing with me was that I'm noticing a huge influx in people who are booking 6 months out from their wedding.
Yeah.
It's very strange, very bizarre thing. People, they're really waiting till the last minute to book with me. And I'm like, okay. Because, when I got to January, I was shitting it a little bit. I was like, uh-oh, what's happening? Because usually by January, that's cuffing season. That's when people they're engaged after the holidays and things like that. That's when I start seeing more of an influx in what I'm seeing for 2025. But this year I got in February, I booked more than I did almost all year. So, and the majority of those were for 2024. So I was like, what the heck is going on? But, everything makes a lot of sense when you take into account everything like that. Usually the photographer is one of the first things that people book. And then, a lot of the things that people are saying to me, they're just like, yeah, we booked our venue and then we just took our time.
Yeah. And, it's usually budget related. And we understand that, it is, what we do is a luxury. Weddings are a luxury. Okay. And if you're having a high ticket item and everything like that, you're spending a lot of money, it's a luxury. So might not have that kind of money to spend right away. And that's understandable. So it is a gap year. We are seeing it. It's not like we're not seeing it. Okay. We're not immune to this. But dealing with it is we're going to see the market kind of shift. And I think what we're going to see is a stabilization in pricing a little bit. I think vendors have to be aware of that. We always talk about raising your prices. But at some point, if the market or the economy isn't meeting that, then you do have to stabilize.
Right.
So I think we're at that point where we do have to stabilize our pricing and just hold the gate a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. Next question.
If you could go back in time and change one thing about your business, would you? Fuck yeah.
I'd start
10 years earlier.
Yeah. Oh my God. Start so earlier.
Fear was the hugest thing that held me back from being happy.
Damn right.
Much sooner.
Damn right. No, it's just, I was a little bitch.
I was too fucking afraid.
I was so afraid.
So afraid of failing. And what I didn't realize is that I was already fucking failing. So what did I have to lose?
I think sometimes we hold ourselves back and we don't want to take that risk. You dip your toe in the water kind of thing. It's like, oh my God, just jump in. Sometimes I'm a risk taker. I am a risk taker. And, sometimes you do need to just jump in. I'm glad the way things panned out for me. I waited a little bit and I did get all my ducks in a row to go full time and everything like that. But I would have started so much earlier. I didn't have faith. I didn't think I was as good of a shooter as, needed to go full time. And I think that's what was holding me back. It was myself. And then what happened was, though, I had friends in the industry and who said, you're good enough to go full time. You are good enough to go full time. I'll shout them out. That's Brittany, that's Stacy, that's Liz, that's Caitlin. That's, those four women really did say you're good enough to go full time. So I give them a little shout out there because they really kind of gave me a little kick in the ass.
Yeah. I feel like that self-doubt that lies in, however, for me, it was relationships, right? You get into these relationships and you're in a low point in your life, and my relationships had never been very good. They were all kind of built on this, you depend on me situation. And that was how I was living my life for quite some time until I wasn't anymore. And that's when I decided I wasn't going to live like that anymore. And that's when for me, it was a gradual change, but I feel like if I had realized that sooner, that I could do this and had more faith in myself, then I would have been more successful way sooner. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I'm there a little later in life, but I'm fucking happy.
Yeah.
So
that's all that matters.
I wish I was happier sooner, but I'm glad I got here in the end, and that's all that fucking matters, I guess.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Inspiration. Woo!
All right, so we want to take a second to thank our sponsor for this episode, Maru. Maru is a modern payment experience for the weddings and events industry. I'll be honest, I've been using them a lot lately. I have to say, like, paying contractors through Maru keeps things so nice and neat, organized. It's made my life so much better.
I was going to say, it's been really pleasant being able to pay contractors in one nice, like, organized platform as opposed to different forms like Zelle or Venmo,
yeah.
having everything all over the place. So I'm definitely going to be keeping using it. I don't know about you.
I'm going to keep using it. It's also a great place to take, like, payments, client payments, without having those credit card processing fees.
Yeah, no processing fees.
I know. You could pass the processing fees on to the client, which is really cool, which is sometimes hard to do. And Maru gives you the ability to do that right from their platform. So it's a great community. They have over 9,000 wedding and event professionals. It's growing. They offer seamless transactions and hassle-free payment experience. They really make it possible for you to focus on what you're doing best and creating memorable experiences. So definitely check them out. We have a link in the show notes to sign up. You can sign up for free and check it all out. Check out the dashboard's really nice, really interactive, makes things so much easier. So if you're a wedding professional, a wedding vendor in the industry, Maru is the platform for you.
Yeah, check them out at www.maru.us. That's MAROO.us.
/TVT. All right, so next question. How to address an excessively large shot list? Want to know my secret? Don't let him do it. No, I'm joking, but I'm not joking. Okay. You do have to, if you have a client that has a huge family shot list, I'm talking family shot list. All right. So if you have a client that has a huge family shot list, okay, you have to do those immediate families. You have to do the immediate family. But if they want photos with, Aunt Sally and Uncle John and all these people from out of state that came, flew in all over the country to, come and see them and everything like that, and they have to take photos with them, that is understandable. One, make sure you let them know this will take you time to do. Mm-hmm. You have to allot for that on your timeline. If you don't budget the time, it's not going to get done, or it's going to bleed into other things, and it's going to cause chaos.
And the family needs to know they need to be there at a certain time. And if they're not there, they're not getting their picture taken.
Exactly.
Expectations need to be laid out clear and plain as day.
So usually for organization of groupings, I budget for 2 to 3 minutes per grouping to organize, set up, and shoot. Usually it takes me two minutes to do, like if the group is 10 plus people. Okay, so that's, think of an extended family, right? Times that by, 10 groups, 15 groups, okay? You're looking at, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. That's a lot of time.
And that's if everybody cooperates.
So take note of that and just make sure you budget for that.
Now, if we're talking about a pose shot list, where they're providing Pinterest boards and must-have poses where they're like, I want to recreate this, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. I just flat out say no. Unless it's like a recreation of like a generation shot or something like that that's important to them. You hired me because you trust me to create what you want. And if you're giving me 6 pages of requests, it's just not doable.
Yeah. I think use your Pinterest board as inspiration. I think we've mentioned this before.
Yeah.
Use that as inspiration, you know, and for looks and things like that. But I think if you trust your photographer you trust their ability as a photographer to take great photos, you could send that to them and let them use that as inspo for the day.
Right.
Like, you know, like getting looks and stuff like that. Like I have brides send me like beautiful Pinterest boards and everything like that. Like they'll show under the veil shots. They'll do, you know, wide landscape shots. So I'll incorporate that into the day. And I often tell them like, hey, I'm there to create for you. I'm not going to copy somebody else's work. I'm going to create something that is unique to you. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the most important thing is you could relay that to the couple. So for shot lists, you know, excessively large ones, especially like if it's for posed, you know, let them know like what Lauren said. And if it's for family shot lists, like I would say you try to keep it at a minimum of like, you know, like minimum of 5 groupings, but like a max like 15. I try not to spend more than a half hour on family photos because to be honest with you, as a bride and groom, do you really want to stand there for 30 minutes while people just usher around you?
I gotta
Probably
say,
not. It's the most boring fucking part of the day.
I gotta say, I've done like 4 or 5 like finals calls already this year. Some people are wanting to do them a little bit earlier than I normally would, which is fine. But so many of them are just like, no, we're not doing extended family photos. And I'm just like, I love that for me. And I love that for you. They just don't want the headache of it. You know, those candid group shots during the reception are usually so much more than enough. But like, yeah, if there's a group that you want, you know, just that's fine.
Yeah.
But keep it reasonable. We're only human.
Yeah.
We're not magicians.
And like I said, you don't want to be standing up there for 30.
No, you'll be so irritated by the end of it, I promise you.
Yeah, you'd be like, I want food.
You're going to look at me like I'm the devil, and I promise you it's not my fault. I'm only doing what you asked.
Yeah.
I promise.
All right. You read the next one.
Okay. Spicy. How to talk to clients on the first phone call. Super business oriented or casual and friendly? We just talked about this, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Personally.
Personally, I do video chats, and I am myself. What you see here is me on a video chat.
What you're looking at right now, this is significantly an improvement from what I look like when I'm on a video call. I'm usually mom bun in a hoodie in my sweatpants, trying to hide the pile of laundry that's on the floor in the background.
Nice. Be yourself.
Be yourself.
Be yourself, 100%. When you're super business oriented, I feel like clients can't relate to you. It's how many times am I going to say it's 2024? We need to like get away from that corporate mentality a little bit and put yourself into your business a little bit more. And I think by, you know, putting your personality into your business, and that starts on the initial phone call, the initial meeting, is huge for anybody looking to book a client.
I'm sure that there's going to be a bunch of people who hate what I just said, like about how I sit for video consults with people. But honestly, I don't fucking care. Like, I'm 9 times out of 10, I swear to you, my clients look exactly the same as I do. They just got home from work. They're like, you know, they're done. They're over the day. They want to sit down and relax and chill on their couch in their comfy clothes. And that's when we do it. I have a really good booking rate. I don't know if it's because I am just who I am and don't try to hide it. I also feel like those meetings where you're super business oriented, it's so stiff and it feels forced. Mm-hmm. And I think, you know, mixing the two is possible and totally fine. But if you're just sitting there like in like your Sunday best, having a conversation and looking at them like you have no personality and you're just pitching a sale, I don't know. It's not it for me. Mm-hmm. To each their own, I suppose. But this is how Mike and I do it.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Agreed. All right, next one. Oh, I got a good one for us. Imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome.
Oh, man.
All right. Imposter syndrome and how we deal with it. We all get it. We all get it. I get it every day. Do you get it every day?
Every fucking day, man.
I get it all the time. All the fucking time.
Every day.
It's a part of us as artists, as creatives. We all get it, okay? Especially in the social media world where, you know, you see so many great artists posting so many amazing photos and videos and things like that. I mean, geez, you see you get inspired by that, but you're also like,
I suck.
I'm so inferior. It's a normal thing. It's a normal thing to feel inferior and feel like you're not up to the expectations, or, oh my God, like these people booked me and I'm not that good. It happens, okay? It happens to the best of us. I get it all the time, all right? And I am well established. I've done 300 plus weddings in my life. I still get it. I'm still like tweaking things here and there. But I think that's what makes us great, is the fact that like we're always looking to improve.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Like I fluctuate between like a couple of different editing styles. Sometimes I'll sit down. I've edited sessions with the same style of editing for years, and then I just sit down to edit the same way that I always have, and I'm like, this fucking sucks.
Yep.
Mike, does this suck? Meredith, does this suck?
And I'll tell
Do
her,
I
no.
suck?
I'll tell her, no, that looks good.
You've just been staring at the screen for 3 extra hours and you need to take a break.
We've all been there. We've all been there. And it could fluctuate on our mood. It could fluctuate on the time of day. So I would say to deal with it, how you deal with it is just take a step back for a second. You know what I do? You know what I've been doing recently?
What?
Okay, I have on my website, like I kind of have an overabundant amount of photos in my portfolio. I think I'm like 150. I've been scrolling through my portfolio and realizing like, shit, this is pretty good. I'm pretty damn good.
You know what? I just did that with you. Like I went to your website and I was looking at your photos and I was like, wow, Mike's really fucking good.
We're clipping that.
I did though. And then I actually went back to my website and I looked through my wedding portfolio and I was like, wow, I could be as good as Mike. Like,
I think you are as good as me. I think.
But that's the thing. Like I was like sitting there comparing like, all right, these are some images. These are images that I picked out for my website to showcase my work. They're good.
Yeah.
Like, why am I sitting here yelling at myself all the time talking about how I suck?
I think so. A good way to combat this is to label your best stuff, whether it's your portfolio, whether it's, like it could be a folder on your desktop, right? Put those photos in there and look at them in succession. Put them in a grid. Realize how good you are.
Yeah, you're the best.
Words of encouragement from Lauren O'Brien.
Words of affirmation.
No, but
you're the best.
But that's how I deal with it personally. And when I look at my work combined all together, I'm like, hey, it does hold up. And it's just like, and I think any artist, anybody who's listening to this, look at your work, your best stuff, and realize how good you are.
Yeah.
And that's how you get over imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Bam.
Woohoo.
All
imposter.
right.
Fuck imposter syndrome.
You go.
You're not an imposter.
You read the next one.
Do photographers get upset if couples retouch or edit their own photos after the fact? Yes.
All the time.
We get very upset.
Do you hear this woman?
That hurts.
Do you hear her? I do that too. Just a little quieter.
That hurts.
It does. It really does. It hasn't happened so much recently. I think this really happened in the earlier stages when Instagram was like, put an Instagram filter on everything. Like the Paris filter or the Rio de Janeiro filter. Remember that? In like 2014. It was a lot more apparent years ago. I don't think it's as apparent now. But I'll be honest, guys, like if you're hiring a photographer that's their look and that's their style, and you put an Instagram filter on it, or you filter it, or you change the editing style.
Even worse though is when you Facetune yourself.
Oh, don't do that.
If you are using an app to filter or change your body or your face, we see it, and I guarantee you, Everybody who knows you sees it too. They know what you look like. So when you're sitting there and listen, I know body dysmorphia is real. I sure get it, but you got to stop with this. There's already enough unrealistic expectations for people these days. You don't need to be exacerbating the problem by changing your body or your face. And first of all, your makeup artist works so hard and you're just gonna...
Yeah. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
How do you feel about makeup artists or hairstylists retouching
I hate it too.
the photos?
Don't.
Yeah.
Don't.
I think that's a misrepresentation of work.
It is.
Of work too.
I hate it.
I love my makeup artists, girlies out there. You girls are incredible at what you do. But please do not take my photos and put a Skin Smooth on it.
No.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Like, love you girls, but listen, okay? My work is my work. I wouldn't add, like a layer of eyeshadow, which I can do in Photoshop, by the way. I wouldn't be doing that, okay? So please don't do that. It's a misrepresentation of your work.
It's a misrepresentation of your work, and it's extremely disrespectful to the photographer.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a breach. Like, you're not legally allowed to do that.
Yeah. So just a note for those makeup artists out there.
Please don't do this.
Please. Thank you. And we're going to have a makeup artist on, and we're going to have a hairstylist on.
We will talk about these things.
And believe me, that's going to be one of our talking points.
I am begging you.
Yep.
Please don't do that.
All right. So we have time for maybe 2 more.
Okay.
All
really?
right. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
All right. So I'll read this one.
Okay.
Have you ever made a big mistake on a wedding day? Missed any moments? Had a scary moment. Let's keep it brief.
Okay. I once went to the wrong venue.
Did you?
I did.
Ooh. Wait, how'd you go to the wrong venue?
There were 2 country clubs with very similar names. There was like Lawrence Yacht Club and Lawrence Country Club.
Oh.
And I went to the wrong one.
Shut the fuck up.
My second shooter went to the correct one. This was after church. They went to the correct one. And thankfully, they were only about, I want to say, like 15 minutes apart. Mm-hmm. But they had already started like bridal or wedding party portraits. And I got there like 15 minutes into it. Thankfully, nobody noticed but me. But yeah, I felt really dumb. Nothing was missed. Everything was fine. But that was one that I noted off the top of my head. I went to the wrong venue.
That's typical because of the fact that like they had similar names.
They had similar names, but I did have the address written down.
Yeah.
So, dirt.
All right, that happens.
Do.
Yeah.
Your turn.
Second wedding of the year. Sorry. Second wedding of all time of my second wedding of my lifetime. Okay. Beautiful couple. They were getting married at this beautiful like farm on the water kind of thing. And I took the rings down to, there was this, the light was hitting this beautiful stone wall, like really nice. Okay. Mm-hmm. And it was a lesbian couple. And I didn't know they had this rather large ring box. Okay. I didn't realize they had an overabundant amount of rings in there. Oh. They had like 6 rings.
Okay.
So there weren't spots for each of these rings. They were kind of like just rattling around and everything like that in there, which I didn't realize because it was windy and everything like that. So
this sounds bad.
Yeah. So we went down.
Wind, tons of rings, no ring slots.
Okay. Young me. It's 2012.
Okay. I'm anxious.
I put the box on this stone wall, and on one side of the stone wall is grass. On the other side is sand and high grass. Okay. Fescue. So I open the box and I open it above the ledge. One of the rings falls, hits the stone rock, and bounces into the sandy area. Okay. I am like, my eye is zoomed on this, right? But I have to close the box and then look away. All right. A ring, the ring is gold on golden reeds on a golden beach. Okay. So I took my eyes off of it for 2 seconds and I couldn't find it for 10 minutes, panicking, searching everywhere. bridesmaids comes up to me and she's like, "Are you okay?" Like that. And I'm like, "I'll be honest. I drop one of the rings. It's right in this area. I just need like another set of eyes." So she helped me find it. We did find it. It took 10 minutes to find it. But
that's the scariest 10 minutes of your life.
Seriously, I was like, I have to take out liability insurance. I got to do all this stuff, which I had at the time. Thank God, by the way, just in case. But I actually told the couple, I was like, almost lost your ring. And we had a laugh about it, and they still rib on me years later, 10 plus years later. But yeah, biggest mistake of my life. So now I open boxes kneeling by the floor. I do this all the time, by the way. By the floor, and if I'm especially outside doing rings, which I hardly do rings outside now, but it was just really pretty. So I don't know. I'm like an idiot. Go ahead. What's the next one?
Ooh, okay. Grumpy partners. One partner loving photos and the other hating them. How do we deal with this?
Shit. This is a good one.
This is a good one. Because we've all been there. Right?
Yeah. I mean, listen. I don't know. So as a male photographer, I feel like I could rib the guys a little bit to get them out of that grumpy mood. Mm-hmm. I'm like, come on, Jerry. I know you got a smile in there for me. Let's see it, and I'll joke around them. I get down to their level to the point where I don't have too many grumpy
I don't want to generalize, but I have to generalize. It's always the guys.
It's always the guys.
It's always the guys.
It's never the girl. It's never the girl.
If you got a straight couple, there's always one. It's always the guy. It's always the grumpy groom who doesn't want to be there, doesn't want to take photos. And it's not always. Every now, I would say one every, 15.
Yeah.
Right?
I've had a few, and the way I deal with them is humor. The way I deal with them is just getting down to the level. I'm like, if I know they're really grumpy about something, maybe it's, something in particular, I don't rib them about that, but usually I have fun with it. And I'm like, listen, all right, we get this done. I'll bring you a fucking beer. I'll bring you a seltzer. I was like, I'll serve it on a platter for you. And they liven up a little bit. It's usually the tail end of portraits, or, when it's during family photos where they're burnt out. I'm like, bro, we're almost done. We're
so close.
We're almost there, and I won't bother you for I won't bother you for the rest of the night, kind of thing.
I think also giving if we're talking specifically during a wedding and not during an engagement shoot, engagement shoots are a little bit easier. I feel like you get to really just connect and find things that you can connect on. So during the engagement session, 9 times out of 10, everything's fine. During wedding photos, that's when things get stressful.
Yeah.
But giving them breathing room, I think. When you start to see or sense that somebody's getting overwhelmed, and give them some time. That's why we factor in buffer time as well. Yeah. So often in our timelines, if somebody needs a break, you can tell.
Yeah.
You just be like, you know what? Take 5 to 10 minutes, go have something to eat, go drink something, go, just chill for a little bit. I will come get you when we're ready to start up again. But
yeah, don't press them.
Don't push.
Don't push. Just give them their time. It's their wedding day at the end of the day. It really is. And while you're working for them and you want to make sure you give them, what they're expecting, at the same point, sometimes you got to just work around people's emotions.
I mean, I've talked about these 2 weddings that I shot when I was working under a studio a few times. These were 2 people that they were aggressively against having their photo taken. They should have never hired a photographer. That's to the point where it was. If I was shooting for myself, I would have left these events due to harassment because of the way that they were speaking to me, the way they were speaking to people around them, the way they were speaking to the team. It was really bad. I would have left.
Yeah.
For sure. Because I was working under a studio, I wasn't confident that they would have my back in this situation. I stayed, stuck it out, and I was mortified. That type of situation, just fucking leave. Seriously. They were harassing me, cursing at me,
That's why you put it in your contract, by the way.
Yeah. Because I was an independent contractor, it was on the line of I didn't know what I should do. But what I should have done is called the studio and said, I'm fucking leaving.
Yeah.
You can send somebody else to shoot this. I'm going home. What I didn't do was that.
Yeah. So I think with dealing with like, you know, grumpy personalities is just, you know, like if they're your client, especially, just, you know, give them that space, give them that breathing room, you know, try to cheer them up a little bit, like have a little fun with it. Like personally for me, my personality, like I feel like if you're grumpy around me, bro,
Impossible.
it's impossible.
Impossible.
Like we're going to have fucking fun. It's your wedding. We're going to have fucking fun.
Yeah.
All right. So just bring your personality a little bit into it, and it will help in that regard.
There we go again, talking about personalities.
Always.
It.
Well.
What the fuck was that?
I'm going to wrap it. I'm going to wrap that up. Wrap it up. Okay. This has been a fun one.
Show was.
50th episode in the books.
Congratulations to us.
Yeah. This has been fun. I mean, we've seen you with 50 different hairstyles.
Honestly, can I tell you something? So obviously I've had like highlights and light hair for most of this podcast. I dyed my hair dark, like the way it's supposed to be naturally. And my son, did I tell you what he said?
No.
I was like, hi, baby. What do you think of mommy's new hair? He goes, mommy, your hair is so ugly.
Kids say the darndest things.
Yo, 4-year-olds are savage. Wow.
Wow.
Yep. My hair is ugly.
Wow. Well, I mean, we've seen it 18 different ways to Sunday, so, you know.
No one notices. It's
and
okay.
here I am, the white Drake. Milk Poppy.
Milk Poppy.
Haven't changed. Well, guys, thank you.
Oatmeal Poppy.
Yeah, Oatmeal Poppy. Guys, it's been an awesome ride. You know, cheers to 50 more as well.
Yeah.
We're going to keep this thing going as long as possible. But thank you guys so much for tuning in, for all your love and support, for asking the questions, sliding into those DMs, joining the Facebook group, commenting, like sharing, post, everything. Like, we truly, truly do appreciate you. So we're going to wrap this one up. Lauren, where can they find you?
You can find me at LaurenO'BrienPhoto.com and Lauren O'Brien Photo and the Feral Photog on Instagram. Michael, where can they find you?
At Michael Sarah Photo on Instagram, TikTok, as well as my website. And you can find us at the Vendor Table Pod on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, as well as
our Facebook group.
Guys, it's been fun. We'll catch you next time.
Okay, bye.